Hey everybody, welcome to a very special episode of the Toys for Games podcast. This is episode 104. This is a very confusing Thursday night, January 26th, 2017. I am one of your hosts, Josh Brown. I am not joined by my normal co-host, Jason Greer. Jason has stepped away for the night. He ran into some issues with some volunteer work that he was doing tonight. Was not able to make it, despite promising me all day that he was going to. Last minute cancellation, no big deal. We got a deep roster here at Toys for Games Incorporated, and turning to that deep bench, we pulled the official third man into the show for tonight, one night only. He is not a co-host, he is the co-host, Matt Sonnenberg.
How are you doing tonight, Josh?
I am doing great, Matt. It's not the night I was expecting to have all day. However, thankfully, your schedule was free and clear. I was able to convince you to come onto this fine program to talk with me about some toys for a couple hours.
And we all know it took a lot of convincing.
It did, yeah. I had to bump up your salary. There were definitely some demands you had that, we're not going to talk about on air, but I feel, I had to give you what you wanted. Like you were holding the trump cards over me, as it were, and you had all the leverage in the negotiation process. The Toys for Games bail money pot may be a little bit thin, so hopefully Jason's not getting arrested tonight, because it's an expensive night, Matt. But here you are.
I am.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're joining me tonight. Not only because I like talking to you, as everybody should know, but because nobody wants to hear me talk for 2 hours about this kind of stuff.
Well, no one wants to listen to you talk to yourself about it.
That's true.
It gets a little weird after a while.
Yeah. And if it was any other night, I might have been able to do it again. I've done it before. I'm not afraid to do it if need be. But this week, we got a lot to talk about. And I feel like I would probably just lose my voice by the end of it, because it's going to be a show jam-packed full of stuff. So thank you, Matt, for stepping in and helping out.
My pleasure.
Everybody should know that you are the reigning champion for guest appearances on this podcast, and you could chalk up another one on your tally board, which I know you keep above your desk.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one counts for 2.
At the very least 2. Big question before we get started.
What's that?
What did you think of Monster Trucks?
I still have not seen it. But I think you know me well enough. Like I've discussed this with you about. Actually, it was probably back when we saw Fantastic Beasts that I just don't go to the movie theater anymore.
Sure.
Like, I will watch it when it hits Redbox. I will watch it when it hits Netflix. So I'll get around to it. But the only movies I have seen in theaters in the past 5 years were either related to Harry Potter or Star Wars.
Fair enough. You have high standards, and I appreciate that. I respect that, Matt. You don't go to the theaters for just any old movie that you could Redbox or Netflix 2 months later. You save them for the good experiences. I like that.
Yep.
Jason, he lives in the trenches. He'll go for anything.
It's true.
Yeah.
He likes his theater.
He loves his theater experience. I'm pretty sure, like, he is inching closer and closer to having just a full operational theater in his house.
Yeah, I just love seeing the interactions between him and Amy that he posts about going to the IMAX for, what was that, Lego Batman?
Uh-huh.
Like, I guess part of it is I don't have an IMAX near me, really, that it's not even an option.
Right.
But I never thought of them, like, showing regular movies. Like, growing up, the IMAX was such a special thing. Like, you only went there to see, like they showed, like, educational films.
Yep.
Like that's what they did with them.
Documentaries.
They didn't show like first run movies. Like it didn't.
Well, I remember when Batman, The Dark Knight came out, and people were talking about that being in IMAX. I'm like, oh man, that'd be really cool to see an action movie on a big screen like that. And now Lego Batman is on IMAX. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a thing, I guess.
Maybe like the definition of IMAX has diminished though, like from what we expect IMAXs to be to where they actually are. Like maybe it's something completely different nowadays.
It's possible, but I doubt it.
Like just a slightly bigger screen, maybe.
Well, I think it's because they just built all those screens and they had to justify keeping them around.
Yeah.
So that they decided to use them more regularly for regular movies.
Sure.
Because like down in southeastern Wisconsin where I grew up, what do they call theirs? I'm not gonna be able to think of it right now, but. I suppose I could look it up and I'll find it by the end of the show. But they were one of the first places to. Oh, they just called it an ultra screen. That's what it was.
Sure.
Have you heard of that?
No, but it sounds super generic.
Okay, yeah. So Marcus Theaters, they were a big company around town, and they came up with this ultra screen, and I think we were one of the first-ish around to get one. Like now I think they're more commonplace, but our theater was one of the first, and it's like this ultra screen is like 3 times bigger than normal movie theater screen.
Sure. And
so it was a big deal, but then they started putting them in more and more theaters, and it's like it just didn't become that big of a deal. And it's like if it's on the ultra screen, great, but if it's on a regular movie theater screen, like it's still way bigger than your house.
Yeah.
So, like, even if you use a projector, you can't get as big as a movie theater screen.
Right. Yeah, we have
wall space.
This place in Portland is called OMSI, and it stands for the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry. And it's a place, it's like a hands-on museum geared towards children for learning experiences. Like, you can learn about, like, robotics, and you can learn about the environment and the human body and all the different sciences that kids are interested and fascinated in.
Yeah, we have one of those down in Chicago.
Oh, okay, cool. That was like the first IMAX screen that I knew of, and
exactly that's where the first one I knew about was too.
Right,
it was in the Chicago Museum of Science and Industry.
But it's almost like a half planetarium though, because it it goes up and it curves, and like when you're watching things, because you're so close and it's so big, like you are actively moving your head around the entire time. But that's okay when you're watching like dolphins swim and tigers walk through jungles and Cirque du Soleil and everything like that. But like, I couldn't imagine watching like just a normal film on one of those things and having to like track everything. Whew, too much.
That's why I've always said, like, especially when movie theaters are full and sometimes you have to sit way up front if you get there late.
Yeah. Oh, that's the worst. I'll walk out.
I am glad to just have a normal sized movie screen.
Sure.
Because I don't want to keep tilting my head left to right to follow what's going on.
Right.
You want to sit back a ways where your field of vision, you can see the entire screen at once.
That's also the beauty of reserved seating nowadays, where like you could just see what's available, and if you don't like the seat choices, you're just like, I'm not going to see this today. I'm going to see something else. It still weirds me out though, like having to pick your seat ahead of time and then find it like you're at a sports event, and then you run to that risk of like people not actually following the reserved seats, and then you're like, do I confront them? Do I go get somebody to confront them for me? Like, I don't want to have to deal with that.
The only places I go with reserved seating, like they show you to your seats.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. All the theaters around here, it's reserved seating. Like when you're buying the tickets, you have to pick out the seats. But nobody escorts you in. You're just responsible for finding them after that. So
it's not that much of a regular thing yet around here. It's only select theaters.
Yeah, it's probably just been within the last year that it's like ramped up. But every theater is doing it now.
I believe it. I'd be okay with that.
Again, pros and cons, but
yeah,
it is what it is. So since you haven't seen Monster Trucks, it's been fun having you on this podcast, Matt. But I think we're gonna have to cut you loose and
all right.
go. So no, I'm kidding. This is the anti-Monster Truck episode of Toys for Games. I am not seeing that garbage film, and neither should anybody else, despite what Jason may say. We do have lots of news to cover, though, Matt. We have lots of stuff to go over. Last week, we did the second annual Toys for Games award show. Boy, was that a lot of fun. It was nice seeing and talking to Vince once again. It was nice having everybody, including yourself, Matt, in the chat room, having fun. True. You were trolling a little bit with selections of winners and losers. So I
did my best. We had to keep Shopkins in check.
Yeah, somebody had to. Also, you're throwing shade at Beast of Balance for winning the Packaging of the Year award.
Yeah, I honestly, that was one I thought Skylanders would win hands down, but
I mean,
you guys thought otherwise.
It was the best Skylanders packaging they've ever had. It's just, man, maybe Beast of Balance thing is just something you have to see to understand, but you know, it's okay. You're a Skylanders guy, and I appreciate you fighting for what you believe in. It's not like Skylanders didn't walk home with an armful of awards anyway, so.
It's true. I can't be too picky.
Yeah. I mean, they did get Game of the Year award, so pretty prestigious if you think about it that way. But yeah, no, it was a fun award show. We did it live. The video is up on YouTube. The podcast, of course, you can listen to that if you just want the audio version. It was a ton of fun. I have trophies to mail out. Matt, yours is coming soon, buddy.
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So yeah, everybody seemed to enjoy it and have a good time. We went to the side of a mountain about 15 minutes in, where Jason decided to spill an entire glass full of Pepsi on the floor.
I'm convinced it was a full 2-liter bottle. It took him forever to clean up.
Oh God! Well, the problem was he wanted to still participate in the show at that point. And he could have easily just handed it off to Vince, and Vince and I could have just handled it for a few minutes. But he wanted to keep talking, and he wanted to be on camera the whole time. So I can't imagine cleaning it up was easy for him.
Yeah.
But
Jason being Jason.
Leave it to us to ruin a live broadcast almost immediately and just spiral down from there. So regardless, it was fun. It was a fun night. But doing that last week, Matt, meant that we didn't cover any news. And we haven't covered any news for about 2 weeks now.
It's true.
Yeah. You didn't even realize that until you jumped on this call with me. And you're like, oh, wow. There is a lot of stuff to go over.
It's true. There is a lot to cover. I mean, because to be perfectly honest, I don't pay that much attention to amiibo news anymore and that kind of thing. I kind of just stick to my Skylanders and go with it. And I covered the news last week, so you must have covered it too.
I mean, that's where we get all our news is from you. So if you did it, we had to have done it.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Well, we didn't do it last week. So here we are. Jam-packed 2 weeks full of information into one episode. How are we going to do it? I don't know, but we're going to do our best to give it a shot. First and foremost, thank you to our executive producer, as always, George Torres. Thank you so much, George. Hope you're doing well down in the beautiful LA area. Also, I'd like to thank our show sponsor, Devin Lachinsky. You can find him over at YouTube, youtube.com/user/DLASCH2. The number 2. Thank you, Devin. Let's go ahead and start off with Disney Infinity, Matt. You just can't get rid of them. We just can't get rid of them.
They just keep coming back week after week.
Thankfully. There's a reason I haven't deleted the Disney Infinity segment from the show notes, because every once in a while things pop up and it's like, yep, we got news. Somehow, some way. Disney Infinity, of course, is sponsored by our good friend James Holian. You can find James over on Twitter at Infinity Museum, or you could hang out with him in the UK if you're in his neck of the woods. I'm sure he would pour you a spot of tea, and you guys could talk Disney Infinity and such, because I'm sure that's pretty much what everybody does in the UK. No, this isn't exactly Disney Infinity related news.
Well, it's related in a way, and of course, once everybody heard it, everybody jumped on Disney Infinity. So
that was a problem. It was exciting news, but then it turned into a storm of like misinformation and hopes and dreams that are going to go not fulfilled, unfortunately. But regardless, it is good news, and that's the best part about this. Avalanche Studios, who was responsible for making Disney Infinity game, they were pretty much closed when Disney Infinity game was canceled. They have been resurrected and brought back to life. They are a functional studio once again, owned by WB.
Oddly enough, yes.
Interesting. And they are working on a Cars 3 video game.
Which, when I saw the news, like, it didn't even click about Avalanche and everything. I just thought, I saw Jason report on it first.
Uh-huh.
My first thought is, oh, he's just super excited for cars.
Sure,
because that's what he does.
Right.
And I'm sure that was a big part of it. And like, it didn't click until like you started reading some articles and seeing more headlines and seeing like other people report on it. I'm like, why is this such? Oh, I see why it's such a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they were responsible for Toy Story 3 video game, which was kind of the Kickstarter for the Disney Infinity game franchise.
Yep.
So now they're going back and they're doing another Disney licensed video game. This is going to be Cars 3. It should be fun. A lot of talented people over there. It's always good when studios are reopened and brought back to life and people have jobs again. Like, that's exciting stuff. Like, that's really good for them. And the most fascinating part is, like, they are now owned by WB.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, people always said, like, why doesn't the competition jump in and swoop in and kind of grab these things? And like, well, they did. Right. I mean, it's not going to turn out the way you were hoping for, obviously, because yeah, they're not going to open up competition against their own brand. But...
No, I mean, they're putting the team to work on something else, but they're familiar with working on Disney properties, obviously. WB's in it to make some cash on this, and good on them for giving them some life back in them and giving them work to do. Does this open the door for maybe some crossover stuff?
For crossover?
Yeah,
maybe. I could see that. I mean, because you got to imagine that this is a foot in the door with Disney and WB.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because Avalanche, were they still technically owned by Disney? Did they actually own them at one point?
I don't think Disney owned them. I think I don't know the details. I don't want to.
Because like that's kind of the impression that I got, because like when they shut down Disney Infinity, they shut down the studio.
Yeah, maybe.
And so that's kind of what the idea that I had in my head.
Well, I don't know. At the very least, the door's unlocked, right? Yeah. It's not like WB and Disney doesn't have a good working relationship as it is, but like, this shows that Disney is true to, their mindset of, we're not going to make games in-house anymore. We're just going to license it out to other game developers who could, do what they want with the games, and we're just going to make a ton of cash on this. So just seeing the WB logo there, like next to Disney, it's like,
Yep.
Okay, all right, let's start the talks here. And maybe the talks have already started. Maybe there's been things going on in the background this whole time that we don't know about.
It's very possible. I mean, these things don't happen overnight.
Right.
It's not like two guys got together yesterday and said, "Hey, let's do this." Okay.
Yeah.
Shook hands, and now we have an announcement. It's yeah. This is just the first product that we're seeing from whatever talks they've been having.
Right. So it absolutely does not mean with any certainty that you will see Disney, Star Wars, or Marvel characters in LEGO Dimensions. But like I said, that door is now unlocked. It's not. Yeah. Nobody's kicked it in, and just walk through. But the door is unlocked. Hopefully, somebody will, turn the handle and come on in. We'll see. Anyway, it's nice to see Avalanche Studios back, regardless. That's the best part of all of this. Let your own speculation run wild from there. But people are employed once again. Very talented people, and congratulations to them, and we wish them the best of luck with Cars 3, which, James Holian on Twitter and a few other people pointed out, like, this is going to be like a super playset of like what Disney Infinity 4 might have had for Cars 3. This is going to be like the full game experience of what that playset was probably going to be.
Most likely, yeah. they just get to focus on one section of the game, of what they may have been doing with the game, and just expand on that.
Yeah.
So
without worrying about figure interaction and all that stuff.
Yeah. It takes a bit of the load off their shoulders, and they should be able to do a lot with it, I think.
Yep. So good stuff there. Moving on. Speaking of Lego Dimensions, let's swing over there. Lego Dimensions, part of the podcast, is sponsored by our friend Christopher Long from Long's Toys. You can find him on Twitter at CLong83. And you can check out his YouTube page, youtube.com/user/Long's Toys. Lego Dimensions. We are a couple weeks away from Wave 7.5, Matt. Are you ready?
I'm ready to grab this stuff. It's just I feel like, even though I just don't know why exactly, I just feel like I keep falling behind in Lego Dimensions.
Sure. I saw you playing that the other night.
Yeah, I've been trying to catch up.
Yeah, me too. I'm almost done with Fantastic Beasts playset, or story pack, I should say.
Yeah, I finished that right after I saw the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I made it through that, but then like the Sonic level and all the adventure levels and that type of thing, I haven't made it through all of them yet.
Yeah, I need to still do the Sonic level.
And because the way things are going now, like I forget that just grabbing a fun pack, even if there's not a level associated with it, there's still the adventure world.
Yep, which has tons of stuff.
Because like all these are brand new IPs that we didn't have before, so it's not just adding to it; it's opening up a whole lots of new content every time with every new figure, and like
E.T., Gremlins, A-Team.
You forget how much content you're actually getting with all of these figures.
Yeah. I put in a new 2 terabyte hard drive into my PS4 about a month ago.
Really?
Right after Christmas. Yeah, I was dying. I was absolutely. I hit my breaking point with the whole delete a game, to install a game dance.
Yep.
Like that gets annoying, and I dealt with it for far too long. So finally, I cracked. I threw in a 2 terabyte hard drive, but since then, I had completely forgotten that I did that. So when I threw in Lego Dimensions, I realized that I had to re-download everything.
Yeah.
And all of year 2's content is so big and takes so long to download. And
yep.
So
although it probably downloads a little faster if you're not doing it like on launch day when everybody else is doing it.
Yes, but not like. Okay, playing with Toys to Life games, everybody will agree with me here. It takes a little bit of setup and preparation. Like you got to have your figures, you got to have your portal or your base or whatever. Like you have to have like your flat surface. You have to have room to pull out the figures and put them on and move them off and use other ones. And it's not just as easy as just pick up a controller and start playing a game.
Yeah.
So I had all my boxes with all my Lego figures and vehicles and gadgets and such. I had like all those open and ready to go. I had my play pad out, and it was like the whole setup process. And then I sat down and I went to start it, and it was like, no, you have to download all this stuff. Oh God. So even though like it was like a few hours worth of downloads, it was still like it immediately soured me on like wanting to play it. Like,
sure.
this is too much. I can't do this again.
Yeah. I mean, that is the downside of the way they're doing things, but at the same time, like, there isn't really a better way.
No. But if I'm excited, if it's launch day and I'm ready to go and everything's already downloaded, like,
Yep.
no problem. But it was this whole, I have to re-download everything. Granted, my own fault because I switched hard drives, but it put me in a funk about it. I got over it quickly, but yeah, I need to also, like you said, kind of wrap up some stuff before February 10th when Wave 7.5 happens.
Coming up fast.
That Lego Batman story pack is going to be tons of fun.
Yep.
Lots of good sales on it already, though.
It's true. Well, that's almost getting to be more of a regular thing,
Mm-hmm.
especially with Lego. And I mean, I'm 100% okay with that.
Sure.
Putting, like, back in the day, I never would have expected to find a pre-order on sale.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that just doesn't make sense. Why would you discount something that's not even out yet?
It's almost like they just accept that that's like the price they should be charging for it, and by putting on a sale, it makes it feel special and tempt people to buy it right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're still making money on that.
Oh yeah,
that's just the way it is. So I mean, they get those sales in there. It's like people, because either you put it on sale right away and get lots of people to buy it,
mm-hmm.
or you don't put it on sale. You're not going to sell as many right away, and you're just going to wait until you do put it on sale because everybody knows it will go on sale.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what happens every
Yep.
time. Like that's what's happened in Skylanders now for the past couple of years. It's like, I can't tell you how many people have told me it's like, yeah, I'm not buying anything until Black Friday.
Sure.
Because they know it's going to be on sale.
Yeah. Honestly, I wish I had that kind of self-control. I don't, but I wish I did.
Yeah.
And I respect people that do, because that's a tough thing. But yeah, I mean, like, just, you know, as a perfect example, we've been getting tweets from different 99-cent stores throughout California that are showcasing shelves and shelves full of year one Lego Dimension packs for 99 cents.
I really wish I lived out that way sometimes.
Yeah. Incredible. I mean, most have been fun packs, but we've seen the Simpson level pack.
Level packs. Yep.
Yeah. We saw the Portal one a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
99 cents. That's you're almost losing money not buying it, Matt.
Yeah. I honestly would be out there buying some.
Yeah.
Just so I could. I know Jason has mentioned this a couple times. He wants to, like, be able to build all of the different versions of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Have them all there at once, so you need to buy like 3 of every pack.
Yeah.
Like, and 99 cents, you got it.
Yeah. That's definitely more reasonable at that point. So
yeah.
So I mean, if you're in the Southern California area, look out at your 99-cent stores. They seem to be just popping up everywhere now. So you know, good way to get rid of stock, I suppose.
Yeah.
February next month, there is some interesting information about the Loot Crate that's going to be coming out in February. They are advertising that each Loot Crate will contain 1 of 5 exclusive Lego Dimension items.
Yeah, that it's still a weird one if you ask me. Like, I understand, like, their theme is like build, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So totally makes sense to involve Lego.
Mm-hmm.
But then for whatever reason, I'm assuming it's Lego in particular probably decided to focus on their Dimensions brand.
Right. Well,
and so
I know for sure because I was part of the inside information team.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Loot Crate teamed up with Amiibo when Amiibo launched?
Yep.
And they had like their Amiibo crates to kind of push them out the door.
Yeah.
There were serious talks to do that with Lego Dimensions when Lego Dimensions launched.
Okay.
And something fell through and it never happened. But like they were going to do the same thing with Lego Dimensions on launch day of the game.
Sure.
But never happened. So now it kind of feels like maybe, you know, they're back in good graces with them. People were kind of freaking out about this though, because they're assuming that it's going to be like an exclusive figure or an exclusive build of a vehicle or a gadget or something like that. There's no way.
But no, especially when they keep saying we keep seeing this 1 of 5 pop up. Like you're getting there's 5 different items that Lego Dimension items that you could get,
right? And
you're only getting 1 of them. Like one, they're not going to make 5 exclusive figures.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like there's no way. The only other thing I can think of is like if only one of them was actually exclusive, but that's not how Loot Crate works.
Right.
Like it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
And so as far as I'm concerned, yeah, it can't be a figure. Like if there's any thought in my mind that it could be, I would have put my order in for the box already.
Sure. Yeah.
I've never ordered Loot Crate before, but for an exclusive Lego Dimensions figure, I would.
Right.
But
the wording doesn't seem to match up with that.
Like if they were figures, I think they'd be advertising that.
Yeah, they would want everybody to sign up for it.
Yeah.
Like that would be a major selling point, but they use the word items. And like Jason pointed out, like that's stickers or pencils or a pencil case or something with the Lego Dimensions branding on it. That's made exclusively for the Loot Crate, but
yeah. The weird part is that Lego Dimensions doesn't really go beyond figures or Lego pieces. Like
right.
So it's going to be some of the first Lego Dimensions branded memorabilia that is out there.
Yeah. Maybe they're like instructions, like master build instructions for like existing figures that can be built into something else.
I see where you're going with that. Like I totally thought you were just going to say it was going to be the instructions that they should have included in the first place.
That would be exclusive
to Loot Crate.
Oh, I wouldn't put that past them at all, Matt. Yeah, at the very, very worst, I could see one of the 5 quote-unquote exclusive items being a green arrow in a polybag. Like, that would be a heck of a score for 1 out of 5 people to get the green arrow, you know?
Yep.
But that just that doesn't even feel right at this point.
Yeah. Well, at first, when I heard just Lego Dimension exclusive, like that was my first thought was they're gonna be giving away Green Arrow and maybe even Supergirl.
Yeah.
But then when I heard the 1 of 5, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense.
Right. Yeah. So I wouldn't worry if I was you, dear listeners, about missing out on something. But if
Lego Dimensions collectors, don't worry about it.
If you're curious though, give it a shot. Like you could get a few dollars off on your first crate if you've never ordered one from various promotions and such. Like maybe it's worth just checking out, but don't expect great things out of it. Is what I'm saying. We'll see.
It's true.
Last and certainly not least, when it comes to Lego Dimensions, Matt, this is something that's a little near and dear to your heart.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit jealous.
Do you wish you were in Orlando this weekend?
Yeah. I want to get down there sometime for one of these.
Sure.
But not this year.
For those that don't know, in Orlando, the Harry Potter celebration is about to go down. I think it starts tomorrow, actually.
I believe so.
It runs through the weekend.
I know some people that are down there and they like checking out Disney today and then head over to Universal tomorrow.
I will say that I have to resist going on any sort of social media related to Harry Potter for the weekend because I feel like there is going to be spoilers all over the place.
I've already seen a couple of things that like just stuff popping up. I'm like, now my mind immediately goes to, I hope Josh doesn't see this. I hope Josh doesn't see this.
No, I saw one tweet from Pottermore saying, who's ready for the HP celebration this weekend? And it was the dragon sitting on top of the bank. And I'm like, I love that dragon. I don't know why. I want to know more about it. But I have a feeling that there's going to be some things going on this account and others that I shouldn't be paying too close attention to. So sad, Matt. So sad.
Yeah, there was one that you could have looked at and you would have understood actually. Um, they took a picture of a sign outside the bookshop
Mm-hmm.
and said we've added something new to the bookshop.
What they had?
Did you see that one?
No.
Yeah, the sign outside said Obscurus Books.
Ooh.
Yeah,
All right.
kind of interested in that.
I would be very interested in that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason we're talking about this, other than the fact that we collectively like to talk about Harry Potter, we do it once a week over at Tales from Godric's Hollow. It's a podcast about Harry Potter. You should check it out, especially if you like reading the books. If you've never read the books, if you've only watched the movies, if you're a fan of Harry Potter in any way, shape, or form, you should check out Tales from Godric's Hollow. Matt and myself, we do it once a week. It's a lot of fun. But we're talking about Hermione right now.
It's true.
We know Hermione is coming to LEGO Dimensions.
Also true.
Which I'm excited about now more than, I was when it was first announced, obviously. I'm also simultaneously disappointed that now we are sans Ron.
It's true, yeah. Because we have Voldemort and Harry.
Uh-huh. And Hermione.
And we're getting Hermione.
Like, it just feels weird to not have Ron.
Yeah. That's kind of what I always said with the team pack that they put out first.
Right.
It felt weird to not have like Harry and Ron, but yeah. I can like it almost would have made more sense to put Harry and Ron in the team pack, release Hermione fun pack, and then like a Voldemort fun pack.
Sure.
That would have made more sense, I think.
Right. Or make Ron and Hermione a team pack. Now, obviously, there's the possibility that Ron dies like in the next book, and he's not that big of a character as I want to believe he is. So maybe that's why he's not included, Matt. I don't know these things.
Put a disclaimer out there. Josh has only made it through almost through book 3. Please do not spoil anything for him.
I'm trying to get in cheap shots any way I can, Matt.
Yep.
No, so Hermione, we really haven't seen anything from Hermione. We know that Hermione is going to come packed in with a hippogriff, which is,
I believe so,
fantastic.
Yeah, you actually know what that is now.
I do know what that is. I'm curious to see how it's going to look in Lego form, but
yeah,
colored me intrigued. Anyway, at the Harry Potter Celebration in Orlando, this is going to be the first time that Hermione is going to be seen and be shown off, and she will be playable to people that want to check her out and see how she plays in LEGO Dimensions. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Like, that's one thing I've noticed LEGO has been very good about integrating, like, and giving these like first opportunities to play stuff. Like you never really saw that with Skylanders. Did Disney ever do anything like that?
Yeah,
like at special events. Or...
Yeah, well, at Disneyland itself, they had a whole Disney Infinity section where you could go and check out the characters. And before 3.0 launched, like you could do like a demo of the game, and play with figures before it had actually come out. So
that's awesome.
Right.
And yeah, so I like to see that LEGO's picking that up too.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it makes a lot of sense to at a specific celebration. It has nothing to do with LEGO, but everything to do with Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, we have something Harry Potter related.
Right.
We'll let you check it out. And who knows? There could very well be people there who have never heard of LEGO Dimensions.
Sure.
And it's like, oh, a game with Hermione? Sure.
I mean, at the very least, you have an entire park filled with people that have their pockets filled with cash, waiting to spend it on every bit of Harry Potter merchandise they could get their hands on because of like just the atmosphere that they're in, wants them to come home with as much park exclusive stuff that they could muster. So everybody's looking to spend money this weekend there. And like you said, if they've never heard of LEGO Dimensions or they've heard of it, in an ancillary way, but they didn't realize that Harry Potter was part of it or anything like that, like this could bring in a whole new audience. So yeah,
do you think they'll actually be selling Dimensions there too?
It would be weird not to, right?
Like even just for the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it would make a lot of sense. It's yeah, because I mean, like you said, it would be kind of weird to say, "Hey, here's this game, and go to your local store and pick it up."
Sure. Honestly, like they probably don't even have to sell the starter packs. They could probably just sell the
Just
Harry
Potter stuff.
Yeah, just all of that, and just be like, here, build some Harry Potter stuff.
I mean, I'd throw the Fantastic Beasts stuff in there, I would think too. But
Matt. I mean, the superior Harry Potter franchise.
Just because you know more about it.
No, just because the one movie they had was better than all the other Harry Potter movies I've seen collectively.
Oof, that's rough.
I've only seen 2, Matt. And you know the first 2 weren't that good. You can't deny that, Matt.
I'm not going to go there now.
You have a soft spot for him because, it's where it all started and blah, blah, blah. But you've even said it yourself. They progressively get better and better as they go on.
Sure.
And Fantastic Beasts wipes the floor with the first 2 Harry Potter movies.
They didn't have to deal with as many kids.
Yeah, they had to deal with, like, invisible sloths. Big difference, Matt.
Yes.
So that's LEGO Dimensions. Again, February 10th, Wave 7.5. The LEGO Batman story pack, you can get it for $30 from Amazon, from GameStop also for $30.
Yeah. GameStop is the one with the sale, and Amazon is matching that.
Okay, yeah. So wouldn't be surprised to see other retailers kind of follow suit with that as we get closer. And then, of course, the Batman, the Excalibur Batman fun pack will be exclusive to Target, and the Knight Rider fun pack will be exclusive to GameStop,
which is also on sale right now at GameStop.
Right. And Marceline will be available everywhere.
It's true. Yeah. Yes. If you haven't picked her up yet.
Right. Or if you don't want to drive 2 hours to your local Toys R Us.
I picked her up when I was down at my parents'.
I'm just saying. Not everybody has that luxury of having a reason to drive 2 hours to a Toys R Us.
I think you could order online too, so.
Yeah, that takes half the fun out of it. You know that, Matt.
Yeah, but it's not like Skylanders where you're like looking for paint jobs or something. You can.
That's true.
You can buy Legos online.
Yeah. Have you seen how the Lego boxes just crush in mailing though?
It's true. Yeah.
Horrible. Not like anybody wants to save the boxes, but it's a mess.
Yeah, that's why I've always appreciated Amazon when they ship them. They ship them in boxes.
Yeah, they have more packets of air than the rest of the world has breathable air collectively. So it all goes to a nice home. We're gonna move on, Matt. We're gonna move on to something you're excited about. You're always excited about Skylanders. Skylanders Imaginators. Matt, not only am I going to let you talk all about it and explain the recent news of the last couple of weeks, but I'm also going to remind people that you yourself sponsor this segment.
What do you know?
Weird. You can find Matt on Twitter at SCLMatt, or you can go over to his website, sclmatt.com, and find links to all of Matt's wonderful projects that he's involved with. But seriously, go to SkylandersCharacterList.com. Just check out how beautiful that website is. Hand-coded by Matt himself. Figure by figure by figure.
Very true.
Do a lot of work over there, Matt.
Do what I have to.
It shows.
Keep the people happy.
I am a little disappointed, though, like when I Google search a specific Skylander figure and an image pops up that's not from Skylanders Character List. I get a little frustrated that like you're not the first of all Google searches for Skylanders. Yeah.
I've gotten better over the years at popping up higher and higher.
Yeah.
But that bothered me the first couple of years. And like other sites that have been there a couple months before me were popping up first. And it's like, but mine's better.
Right. My favorite is when they try to pull like YouTube thumbnail images. I'm like, I'm clearly not looking for that kind of image right now. Like, what are you doing?
Yes.
Just filter that out for me. Matt, let's talk about Skylanders, shall we? What's going on in the last 2 weeks that we should be talking about?
Well, yeah, since we have to go back 2 weeks, like I said, I didn't realize you hadn't covered this. Mm-hmm. But We are going back to the Nintendo Switch event.
Why are we talking about Nintendo, Matt? We're talking about Skylanders here.
Yeah. You wouldn't think it would correlate too often, but Nintendo Switch Skylanders Imaginators is going to be one of the few launch titles on the Switch.
Who saw that coming?
Not me. I honestly, like, I had people asking me if it was going to come out on Switch, and I told them I don't know for sure, but sure. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like by the time you hit March, that's so late in the Skylanders cycle.
Right.
Like we're on like wave 4 if we're lucky, and it just doesn't make sense to release anything that late in the cycle.
No. And I mean we fielded this question on one of our previous shows, like how is the Switch even going to work with the Toys to Life games, that require the figure to sit on a base the entire time and all that stuff. Like it just feasibly didn't make sense for Skylanders or Lego Dimensions to come to the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
But Nintendo solved that problem. Or Activision
Nintendo
did.
Or Activision probably.
It definitely worked hand in hand.
Yeah, Nintendo had their method for amiibo to work, and it's like Skylanders. Well, you have two options. One, you can make a portal that no one's gonna want to drag around everywhere.
Right.
Like honestly, do people travel with their 3DS portal? I don't think so.
Only crazies, Matt.
So they decided to go no portal.
Yeah. How's that going to work? That's weird.
Yeah. No portal, no problem. That's what they're saying. So
look at the marketing lingo. I love it.
Yeah.
They are all in on this.
It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I honestly think if they were going to put it out, yeah, obviously going launch day is the only way to go. Because I almost wonder if they got talked into it by Nintendo.
Please,
it's like
please,
we're short on games. Could you you please do this? Oh, you already have your game finished. Just make it work, please. Right. Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, the controller for the Switch, specifically the right Joy-Con, has the NFC reader in it.
Right. It looks like it's actually in the analog stick of it.
That's the impression that I'm getting. At least that's going to be like the center focal point of it. It's like that's what you're aiming for. That's what you're going to tap it on.
Right.
Like I don't know how big an NFC reader actually is.
Small, from what I understand.
Yeah. Does it actually fit in? I guess it could.
I mean, it can't fit in the rest of the Joy-Con because it has all those ice cubes in it, Matt.
It's true. And it just seems weird to go from this massive portal down to the head of a joystick.
Sure.
Like it just big change there from what we're used to. So
how are you supposed to play the game if you're trying to balance a Skylander on the head of an analog stick?
That would be impressive. But no, they are going to exclusively for the Switch allow a digital library.
Oh my god, that's the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah, they're going to allow you to scan in all 300 plus of your existing Skylanders into the game.
Okay, so it is 300 plus.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not capped off at 300.
No.
Okay, the first time I read through it, for some reason, I had it stuck in my head that it capped at 300, and I was sitting there thinking, yeah, that should be enough Skylanders to have in my digital library. But what if I want more? Am I going to have to delete some to add some? Because that's going to get messy real quick.
No.
Sorry, Stealth Elf, you did not make the cut.
That's just the number they've been using now since they crossed that 300 mark with all the variants and such.
Sure.
That's just their marketing number. And I have the direct quote here from the press release that says, including the introduction of a vast digital library that allows players to easily load and store 300 plus toys from the Skylanders franchise. The only limitations on this are you cannot scan in vehicles or traps.
And nobody's going to be too upset about that, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Traps totally make sense.
Sure.
You couldn't use the traps on the 3DS version with their portal.
Yeah.
There's no trap slot, that kind of thing.
The vehicles is kind of weird.
The vehicles is a little weird. I wasn't expecting that. I don't think there should be any reason that they wouldn't scan using their method. I think in my mind, it almost says that there's not going to be a racing mode.
Yeah.
They haven't announced that, but that's what it makes it sound like. And the only reason I'm hung up on that is because, as some people have pointed out, is that there is the in-game bonuses, achievements type of thing,
right?
Where you can unlock extra parts by completing certain levels of the things. One of them relates to the racing. Like you have to complete 12 unique races, I think, to get.
They can't just eliminate that.
Except it'll break down their grid. It'd be weird.
You could replace it with something else, maybe.
Exactly. So I don't know what they're gonna do there. Other people have said, well, maybe they'll just keep it in there, and you just have to race with the instant vehicles.
Sure.
But I mean, that would seem kind of lame. But at the same time, whatever. I don't care.
I'm sure there's a reason for it, but either way, like I'm just so stoked to have every figure in a digital library at my disposal.
Yeah. Have you seen the latest video showing off the touchscreen?
I have not. No.
There is a video. I forget who put it out. I'll have to go back and find that. But it just one small section of it. They were at. I think it was the New York Switch event. I think that's where it came from.
That press event that they had after the
yeah. And in the middle of the video, they had thrown in Skylanders, and so they like scanned a figure, and then they were scrolling through on the touch screen, and it's like, yeah, this is how you switch figures, and you just flick it across the screen, find the one you want, and tap on them and go.
Sure.
And it seems pretty slick to me. So
yeah. I heard that was the only game at the event that actually featured the touchscreen in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, okay.
So like, good on Skylanders for like doing something different than all the other games there, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. So that like people might not think about it, but yeah, they basically had the game done, but then they still had to adapt it for the Switch.
Right.
Like they had to include the digital library, which doesn't really exist in any other game, at least not Imaginator's game.
Right.
And then they had to change something in the programming to allow for the touchscreen to work properly, and just the switching between screens and that type of thing. I'm sure there's some kind of programming in there too.
Sure.
But
switch in.
Yes. They somehow got it done, and should be a nice addition to the Switch family.
So, as far as you understand it, as you're playing Skylanders on your Nintendo Switch, you just select whichever Skylander you want to play as, and then if you want to switch to a different one, you just open up the menu and you just select another character and you just go from there?
Yeah.
How do the creation crystals work?
What do you mean?
How are they gonna?
Okay, so we've I think we've seen this kind of before in the 3DS. Like I'm sure this digital library is just an adaptation of what we've seen on 3DS.
Right.
Because in 3DS versions, starting with, I believe, Swap Force, you could start loading in multiple characters and then just pause and choose a new character and go.
Sure.
So I think what's going to happen, as we saw in those games, like you load the figures into the game, you can play with them, and then when you want to save your settings, like you're still going to be able to level your characters up in the game. And if you want that data to be back on the figure, like it normally would, like this would normally happens instantaneously because the figure is sitting on the portal the entire time.
Right.
It's like almost constantly reading and writing.
Sure.
And so that's when what you don't get with this digital library is that you load it in, you change the stats of your figure, or in the case of an Imaginator, you might change their appearance. And then I think you're going to have to
level them up and such.
You're going to have to tap it back, tap the crystal or the figure back onto the reader.
Sure.
To save it.
But we're assuming though, like when they're in their digital library, they could still level up and everything, and that will save as you progress through the game. But like if you ever want to use that figure with that level, like you won't have to do it each time you play on your Switch. But if you want to use that figure on like your PS4, then you'll have to pull it out and save it then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's going to be the only time is if you want to bring that figure to a different console.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if you're,
as long as they don't make you save everything, like when you're about to turn off the game or like risk losing all your progress.
No, I have to imagine that saves on your game file. Okay. In the digital library, that's all going to be saved digitally. Okay. I think the only time like if you only ever plan on playing on the Switch, you can load everything in once and forget about it.
Sure.
I
set honestly, it and forget it, Matt.
Yeah, I mean not that anyone's going to do it, but you could probably load everything in and then just throw away the characters.
Right. I don't know why you would do that, but you can.
No. Yeah. Exactly. But that's why they haven't done the digital library thing before, because it feels like you're getting less from the figures then. That's the whole point of the Toys to Life. It's like you put them on the portal. And some people are going to miss that moment of, oh crap, I'm dying, and kicking the figure off the portal before it actually dies.
Yeah.
And now it's just going to be like, can I get to the pause button fast enough?
Yeah. But man, I'm going to enjoy playing this game just wherever I want without being burdened by having the figures. I mean, Pinata doesn't leave my side, Matt, so I'm not worried about that. But it's all the other ones, that I don't necessarily want to drag around with me 24/7. But I'm excited. I mean, I'm definitely picking it up. I'm going to play through this game again on the Switch because I absolutely feel like I need to at this point. And the best part about like this is like they were teasing some like new figures, and it just kind of feels like maybe they're not done,
And yeah, so that wasn't the only news that we got that day.
Yeah.
They after the Switch event is when we got most of this news. And because just in the end of the teaser trailer, we got that glimpse of Skylanders Imaginators. Like, wait, it's on the Switch? What's going on? That's weird.
You were not watching the Switch presentation with anticipation of seeing Skylanders news.
No, not at all. I just like to know what's going on with the in video games.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, this is going to be a big event. I got to watch it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden there's Skylanders. I'm like, that's not supposed to be there. I'm like, I know I just saw that. And like, so I had to go back and like, yep, okay, sure enough. And then we got the press release, and it's like, oh, that's not all.
Mm-hmm. What else we got, Matt?
Well, we are getting a brand new adventure pack. This is something that I have to say I am certain that was not planned from the beginning.
Right.
There are a couple of reasons. I'll explain in a minute, but this new adventure pack is the Cursed Tiki Temple pack.
Okay, I like the name of that.
Yep, catchy. It's going to include Wildstorm, a figure that has not been released yet that we're all looking forward to.
That was one of the last ones to actually like be shown, right?
Yeah. It was one of those like we just didn't see it, couldn't find a picture, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's going to be wave 4 or 5.
Yeah.
That's how these things work. I don't know who gets this information and what order that gets out and how they decide what waves, but the leaks always seem to come out like in the order that things are released.
Yeah.
Like waves 1 and 2 will leak before waves 4 and 5.
Right.
So it'll come with Wildstorm. It'll come with a life creation crystal. We don't know which one because that's all the clarification they ever give.
Sure.
They don't have fancy names like I do on my site.
Yeah.
So it's a life creation crystal. We're not going to know what crystal that is until we get a box shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't even get a box shot before it hits stores.
Right.
So we'll see. But then this pack is also going to include an Imaginite mystery chest. They haven't specified which one. I would have to assume for your value, they have to include another gold one.
Yeah.
Like they did in the Dark Edition, they included a gold chest.
Right.
Like it'd be weird to be random and people have to, because it's going to be visible. Well, unless they do cover it up, but that would be weird.
And put it in a blind bag in there?
Yeah, like actually just stuff a blind bag in there.
Just tape it to the side.
Yeah.
This is really unplanned, guys.
Yeah.
What else can we throw in this little package?
Or like just a coupon for free with purchase.
Throw in some Disney Infinity Power Discs. And
yeah.
Got yourself a deal. Okay.
But yeah, so an interesting pack there. There is not going to be a level piece.
Sure.
It's going to be like we saw with the Crash Bandicoot level.
Mm-hmm.
With Crash, it was either putting Crash or Cortex on the portal was going to unlock the level.
Right.
So in this case, putting Wildstorm on the portal is going to unlock the level.
Sure. I like my pieces. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I'm absolutely okay with it. Yeah. It's something I guess I've never really thought about before they did it with Crash.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the level pieces, but at the same time, they don't really do a lot afterwards.
Right.
And especially in this game where like putting a level piece, one of the older level pieces on the portal, it used to in some of the older games would create that like light core effect where it kind of killed things on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just get like 500 gold.
Yeah.
And you can only do it once.
Sure.
So it like they really don't do anything.
No. They just look cool.
So I'm okay with them including it with a figure.
Sure.
It gives more value to that figure, I think.
But that's also like how you're saying like kind of feels like they weren't ready for this or weren't planning it from the beginning.
Well, that's one reason. But then if you want to dig into it a little deeper,
let's do it.
So you're familiar with the soul gems?
Yes.
And in all the other adventure packs, I think this goes back to the beginning even, the soul gem for the character included in the adventure pack is always found in the adventure world.
Okay. Makes sense.
So like this year we had the Enchanted Elven Forest with Boom Bloom.
Right.
Her soul gem was located in the Enchanted Elven Forest.
Makes sense. Gives you a little added bonus for picking the package up.
Same thing with Airstrike this year. His was located in his level. Wildstorm, his soul gem, you probably already have it if you played through the game because it was in one of the other levels. I don't remember which level offhand, but it was in one of the other levels.
How about that?
So they were not planning this. The other reason I think they weren't planning this is our lovely data miners that are out there that dig through the code of the game and find every little last bit of information.
Yeah.
Like that's how we got all the character names early, right? That I'm not going to go into the legality and morality of that, but
people do it and we acknowledge that it happens. It's
it happens, we report on it, and that's the end of it.
Sure. We don't condone it, but we definitely applaud their efforts as long as they're not using it for evil ways.
But with that being said, this level is not something that anyone found anywhere. And that's why, because we thought we had known everything there was to know about this game for the past, well, since probably since launch or shortly after launch. I don't remember when we actually got the big leak this year.
Right.
So for the past 3-4 months, we pretty much knew everything, and now they come out and say, "Hey, surprise!" It's like, but you can't keep secrets like that when we dig through your code.
We should have found this.
Yes. So that was the first reason. I was pretty sure it wasn't planned, but then when someone brought up the soul gem aspect of it, I'm like, good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have this planned. So that also putting the level unlock on the Wildstorm figure then. Mm-hmm. They just had to a little bit of extra programming on the Wildstorm figure as opposed to designing and producing a whole new level piece.
Right.
Makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to clarify, this is not a Switch exclusive. It just happens to be coming out.
Correct.
Is it coming out the same day as?
No.
Okay.
No. That's the other confusing part. People have all these March dates in their head now.
Yeah.
So the Switch comes out on the 3rd.
Okay.
And the Skylanders Imaginators Switch starter pack will come out on the 3rd.
Okay.
So that's going to retail for $59.99, which I like the price because it's going to be comparable to pretty much all the other games that are out there on launch day. Mm-hmm. Just be aware that it will not include a portal.
Right.
But once again, you won't need one. So, but then on March 12th, so about 10 days later, 9 days later, is when we should be getting this adventure pack.
Okay.
And like you said, it's coming out kind of in conjunction with the Switch. Mm-hmm. It's kind of more marketing for them, trying to get more people into it, trying to give them something new and exciting to play on the Switch that they haven't played before. But this pack will be playable on all consoles.
Okay, perfect. Just like the Crash Bandicoot pack is.
Yes.
So yeah, it's nice seeing. I mean, there's definitely, because of the few amount of launch titles, I feel like there's probably going to be people picking up Skylanders just for the sake of it being a launch title and wanting something to play.
Yeah, exactly, and especially that it's definitely that family friendly game, and that's what you're going to get with a lot of Nintendo owners.
Yeah,
is looking for those family friendly titles.
Yeah,
so. I honestly think it'll sell pretty well.
Right. Well, especially, Matt, because Imaginators didn't come out for the Nintendo Wii that I'm aware of.
To be honest, and to make Jason a little more jealous, I just got another email yesterday asking me if Skylanders Imaginators is out on the Wii.
Well, here's the thing, Matt. All those families that are still playing the Wii, they're upgrading to the Switch, my friend. So... Yeah. They've missed out on Skylanders Imaginators at home playing their Wiis. Not anymore. They're back in the Skylanders game now.
Yep.
So.
And the cherry on top of the cake, it seems to be tied to this adventure pack. It will also unlock 100 new parts. For your Imaginator to use.
Awesome.
I've had some questions about this from the way I'm reading it, the way I'm understanding it. It's going to add 100 new parts to the game, but you're still going to have to unlock them.
Okay, fair enough.
Like some people are asking if it's just going to automatically unlock 100 new parts.
Right.
I don't think so. I think it's going to add 100 new options to the game. And you still have to play through it and unlock them.
Sure. Either way, though, that's okay.
Yeah. I like I said, and so someone made a comment that 100 new parts, if you split it up between all the different categories of different parts and gear and everything that you have and weapons and all that stuff, like you're only going to get a couple of parts per category. But I'm like, well, would you like 0 parts or 100 parts?
Right. Yeah.
I'll take 100 any day.
Sure. Absolutely. Why not? It just feels like they're just adding on to the game. Like, it's not much.
Yeah.
But it's more stuff.
And honestly, this is something that I don't think it's going to happen, but if they wanted to, this is like the beginning of a model they could use going forward.
Yeah.
Like this right here feels like Lego Dimensions Year 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here's a new adventure pack, here's a new character, and some new parts.
Yep.
There you go.
Perfect.
That's all you have to do. And you keep the franchise going, keep the people happy.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then today you ran with some news.
I did. I got a little tip from someone from Toys R Us. In their system now, they have the 2 Easter variants that we're expecting have made their way into their system and are currently listed with a release date of February 27th.
Okay. So about a month
now. Yep. I have a couple of problems with this date.
Okay.
One, it's a Monday.
Okay. Interesting.
Which would be a very odd day to release Skylanders.
Sure. But I mean, they're kind of wild cards when it comes to release dates anyway.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. And the other reason it might be okay is, so Easter this year is April 16th. So typically I say holiday themed figures. Mm-hmm. We'll see them about 2 to 4 weeks before the holiday they're meant for.
Sure.
Because that gives people time to buy them in case they're using them as presents or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so this puts it at like, I mean, what's that, 6, almost 7 weeks before Easter? That seems like a long time.
Yes.
But this is Toys R Us listing.
Right.
So it almost makes it feel like it might just be an early release for Toys R Us.
Sure. Now, you said February 27th, correct?
Yes.
And that's a Monday?
Yes.
What's coming out Friday?
Friday of what?
That Friday of that week.
Of that week?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be March.
Mm-hmm.
March 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Okay, I can see that.
I mean, if there's going to be people picking up Skylanders game, they're going to want to buy some figures. And if they see some Easter ones, I'm just saying. It makes sense to get it out while people are there buying stuff, as opposed to like expecting them to come back, because everybody's going to be busy playing Zelda anyway. Nobody's coming back to the store for another month or so.
It's true. It's true.
Get them while they're there. Make sure, put them out, a couple days before then allows them to sit there and be ready to go home.
The only problem I have with that is, why are they releasing the adventure pack on March 12th?
Because it's probably not going to be ready until then. To be fair.
Yeah, that is fair.
Probably has to go through all the cert and testing and all that stuff. So
that's could be also why they get the, like, we've seen that before, especially at Toys R Us, doing the like 3 things, 1 per week for 3 consecutive weeks.
Yeah.
So it's pretty close there too.
Sure. All right, February 27th, Easter variants, possibly. Matt, what about Heartbreak Buckshot?
Heartbreaker Buckshot?
Yes.
For the record, the Easter variants, if you're not familiar with them, there's 2 of them we're talking about.
Excited Thrillipede?
Hey, no.
Oh, that's last year.
Wrong year. You already have that in your collection, I hope.
Sadly.
But we're looking at Egg Bomber Airstrike, which is a little bit interesting because typically we don't see figures that are in adventure packs sold separately.
Right.
And so, yes, it's a variant, but it's happened a few times before. Like, I think with like Deja Vu and Blades, like they had legendary versions.
Right.
And they were also in adventure packs, but Yeah, it's still kind of weird. In any case,
They're
Egg Bomber
breaking the rules, Matt.
Yes. Like I told you, they're moving in on Lego's territory. Uh, Egg Bomber Airstrike and Hard Boiled Flare Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
They both sport that pastel egg color that everybody seems to associate with Easter.
Sure.
So
springtime, if you will.
You could throw them in a bowl of Easter M&Ms and it'd be hard to find.
Goodness gracious. Love Easter M&Ms.
But yeah. Then
well, hold on. To be fair, you're finding Flare Wolf because that sucker has the brightest red eyes I've ever seen. The scariest red eyes of any Skylander in the history of Skylanders. No rational thought was put into the color of his eyes compared to everything else on that figure.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, if you wanted a reddish color, it should be that pastel pink to blend in. There's no reason it should be red.
I mean, they're just trying to accentuate the fact that it's a fire element. But
who knows? That's just the image they've sent out so far. That could change.
What, Matt? Press shots always reflect the accurate color of the Skylanders once we purchase them from stores.
Right.
Every time, Matt.
And Thrillipede is holding 3 grenades. And so you were wondering about Heartbreaker Buckshot.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so is everybody else. I addressed this in my article that I put out today because I knew everybody would be wondering about it. When I saw we were getting news about, someone sent me this Toys R Us list, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be Heartbreaker Buckshot because that's the next variant that we're expecting.
Right.
But no, it wasn't. We got news on the Easter stuff. I honestly don't know what's going on with this. Maybe we're assuming things all wrong. Maybe they're planning this for some other holiday. Maybe they scrapped him. Maybe they were having problems with him and decided not to release him. I don't know what's going on. I have people looking into it right now. I haven't heard anything back from them yet, but we don't know what's going on with Heartbreaker Buckshot. Like I said, normally we'd see something 2 to 4 weeks before the holiday. We're getting desperately close to that 2-week mark.
Right.
So it's kind of weird we haven't heard anything yet. If it is indeed for Valentine's Day, like that, they've made Valentine's variants in the past, so it seems like that should be it. But I don't know. I really don't know what's up. As soon as I know something, you'll know something.
Sounds good. Where's Thrillipede, Matt?
He's sitting over there on my shelf.
Just rub it in, why don't you?
Yep.
You and your UK version.
No, mine's not a UK version.
Oh, that's right. You got lucky and got that Best Buy or
Nope.
Toys R Us?
Nope.
No?
I got mine straight from Activision.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Big Shot.
Well, no, I have to beg and plead for those things. I'm not one of their big shots that they just send stuff to. I have to, yeah.
Sure. The right people on the right day.
But yeah, like had I known at the time that like my U.S. packaging version was going to be a rarity,
mm-hmm.
I would have kept the sucker in package.
No, Matt, nobody keeps their toys in packages. That's ridiculous. That's so 2015, Matt. Get over it.
No. Did you pre-order Pinata?
Pre-order?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you did.
What are we talking about? Pre-order? Pinata?
Yeah.
Another one?
No.
The one I have that I'm holding right now?
Yeah.
Did I pre-order them?
Yeah.
No. I hit the buy now, one-click button.
Did you put your order in before they were available?
Semantics, Matt. Semantics.
Okay.
Look, I will break the rules for Pinata. Other than that, pre-ordering is so 2015.
That's what I thought.
Get out of here with that nonsense. Speaking of so 2015, let's talk about Amiibo, shall we?
We shall.
Just kidding. We love you, Amiibo. We have like the most Amiibo news to talk about in a long time, and it's super exciting. First and foremost, I'd like to thank our sponsor of the Amiibo section, Michael O'Driscoll. You can find on Twitter at amiibo_museum. Him and his fiance Anya, who has a music album available on iTunes and everywhere else music albums are sold. It's called And the Light Comes In. Again, her name is Anya, Ania. They sent me a wedding invitation.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, right? It's official. They're actually getting hitched.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Michael O'Driscoll. And his wonderful fiance Anya. Their wedding is going to be in South Carolina.
Interesting. Is that where they live, or is it?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think it's a location wedding. Nobody goes to South Carolina to get married.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where he lives.
My brother lives out there now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, want to crash a wedding with me?
We'll talk later.
Okay. Also, I'm just going to call Michael out here. I'm not going to give all the details because I don't want everybody from the Toys for Games community showing up to his wedding unannounced. But the wedding is being held on a Thursday.
Really?
Who gets married on a Thursday?
Now, okay, is that at least like Thursday evening?
I think it's smack dab in the middle of the day, Thursday.
Really?
Yeah.
That seems questionable.
You're making it really hard, Michael O'Driscoll, for a guy that lives on the other side of the country to come to
Are
your
you
wedding.
sure you have your date right?
Pretty sure. I'll double check it after the show, but
just specifically say Thursday on the invitation.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. Jason got one also. I mean, he's a hop, skip, and a jump away from South Carolina.
Because East Coast and everything's right there.
Everything's in the East Coast. Like, all within a couple-hour drive from each other. Pretty sure he can get to Florida in about 3 hours if he tries hard.
Well, I was gonna say that is until you hit Georgia and you have to drive. If like driving north and south in Georgia is like as long as the rest of the East Coast.
That seems convoluted.
Yeah, it's messed up.
So anyway, Michael O'Driscoll, and his fiancée Anya, they're getting married in May. Congratulations to them on behalf of Toys for Games community. So everybody should go over to amiibo_museum and wish him the best in his future marriage. Because, starting off rough, getting married on Thursday. That's one strike already, man.
Yeah.
Unless she planned it, then it totally makes sense.
Of course.
Yeah. That best choice ever, Anya. Amiibo, lots to talk about. We already covered the Switch event, where they showed off the NFC reader and the right Joy-Con of the analog stick. That's how you're going to be able to scan in not only Skylanders, but also Amiibo.
And for the record, I believe I did see in the Pro controller now.
Right in the middle.
There's an NFC reader right in the middle. Yeah. Yes. So it doesn't matter which controller. You don't have to use the Joy-Con if you don't want to.
Right.
Because honestly, anything I play on the Switch is going to have to be with Pro controller.
Sure.
That's just my preference, but
you say that now. You might be surprised, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yes, it is nice that they included it into the Pro controller as well, which might also kind of help explain the slightly higher price point for their controller as opposed to other controllers out in the market.
Yeah, I was surprised with that.
Yeah, but hey, NFC reader, right there in the middle. You could scan in your Skylanders. You could scan in your Sky Amiibo.
It's true.
Because those are a thing. But also your Amiibo as well. Very nice to see Nintendo. I said it before the announcement that the presentation was going to go a long way in determining how Nintendo felt about Amiibo going forward in their future. And I think showing off Amiibo, how Amiibo would scan in, obviously having like the Skylanders aspect to like the NFC reader. It sounds like they are pretty committed to continuing Amiibo support and pushing it to help expand game experiences that they're going to be releasing. So they're probably never going to come out with that amiibo killer app that everybody wants, that all-inclusive amiibo game. But, they continue to put out new cool amiibo that do new and interesting things in games. The fact that it's built into the Switch, and even the secondary controllers that aren't necessary for the Switch but you can buy, they seem pretty committed to amiibo going forward, and that's what we like to hear.
Yeah, they have no reason to put that NFC reader in there if they're not going to continue with amiibo.
Yeah.
In some form or fashion. And I mean, just going off the list that we're going to cover here, there are a lot of new amiibo products that are coming out, and some of them I was actually quite surprised by. So
yeah, they announced 2 more figures to join the Zelda Breath of the Wild series. They announced the Zelda figure and the Bokoblin.
Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure
I don't like
on the pronunciation of all these things.
The Bob, the little gremlin dude that is one of the bad guys in Zelda. He's going to be an amiibo as well. So, nice to see that series even expand further than the 4 we already knew.
Definitely.
So that's going to be fun. 4 or 3? There's 3 before. 4.
Well,
Archer, the horse, the Guardian. Was it just those 3?
I want to say there's more.
It seems like there was another one, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting 2 more. But this also is interesting because they announced that the price for the Guardian, the one with the posable legs, the giant one that Jason and I speculated would never actually come out.
The giant one.
Because it's so ridiculous. That's going to be a $19.99 amiibo. $19.99. And then the other ones are going to be priced at $15.99. So we don't know at this point if going forward all of the amiibo, like the new MSRP for amiibo, is going to be $15.99.
Yeah. Like the bumping up the $15.99 seems weird.
Yeah.
Like, because they're not really increasing size on those, right? As far as we know.
No.
Those are basically standard size.
Right.
Like the $19.99 makes perfect sense to me.
Sure. Yeah.
The size and the moving parts and all that type of stuff.
Sure.
Like it almost feels like a deluxe figure.
Mm-hmm.
Like people had no problem paying, what was it, $40 for Mega Yarn Yoshi?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. I no problem with that.
Yeah.
So $20 for the biggest other figure we've seen so far makes a lot of sense to me.
Sure.
And so it almost feels just like they're bumping up the price of the other ones, so the $19.99 doesn't seem so bad.
Right.
But I don't think they need to do that.
Yeah. Maybe they're just trying to prove that the figures are super high quality, because I mean they are getting much better to look at. So
yeah,
maybe that price is trying to reflect the quality of figures that they're releasing.
There definitely is a mental aspect to it.
Yeah.
That people subconsciously, whether you know it or not, will assume that a $20 product is better than a $5 product.
Right. Absolutely.
So
these aren't preschool toys anymore, Matt.
No, they are not.
So yeah, again, we don't know if that price point is going to be for all amiibo going forward, if it's just for this series because of how detailed and awesome they look. We don't know. Nintendo obviously hasn't said anything about that, but we'll definitely be watching out for that. They announced what the amiibo will do for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is kind of like the Game of the Year version that's coming to the Nintendo Switch of Mario Kart 8. It includes all of the DLC, a new battle mode. Definitely going to be a nice little package, since Mario Kart 8 is a few years old now.
Yep.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be like looking much better because that game already looked phenomenal as it was.
Sure.
Just all the little added features. And it'll be another fun game to play on your Switch. But they did announce that it's going to have...
Everybody loves some Mario Karts.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody loves good Mario Kart battle modes, which
yes,
8 did not have. So getting the proper battle mode is going to be fun. But they announced that it will have amiibo support as well, just like the last one did. You will scan in your different amiibo, and you will be able to use your Mii drivers in the costumes of the amiibo that you scan in. For the first time, we're seeing Splatoon costumes. So that's cool.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
Yeah, I mean they're adding the Inkling boy and girl to Mario Kart as drivers, so they're kind of embracing Splatoon as it is. But
yeah, I it's one of those like they kind of went all in on Splatoon, I think, and thankfully they did it right and it took off.
Yeah,
and so like we're getting a Splatoon 2,
right?
And so it in my opinion, it's from here on out, it's kind of gonna be one of their main pillars.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know if it'll actually reach like Mario status, but it's definitely gonna be what like even like we've seen now like Fire Emblem is kind of one of those things they keep coming back to.
Yeah.
Even though I personally have never played a Fire Emblem game.
Right.
But it's obviously big enough for them that they keep coming back to it.
Like if they have a platformer, it's Mario. They have a shooter, it's Splatoon. They have a JRPG, it's Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Like they have certain franchises in place to be, like you said, the cornerstones of what they're doing going forward. So, yeah, I'm excited to see Splatoon anywhere I can. Speaking of Fire Emblem, they announced a 2-pack for the new Fire Emblem Echoes game that's coming out. The 2-pack will include Alm and Celica?
I think it was Celica.
Celica? I didn't actually hear it. I just saw it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I remember thinking it was like the car.
Yeah, okay. Celica. It makes sense. Still no word on the Corrin amiibo for Smash Brothers, but I suspect when Smash Brothers for the Switch is announced, that will probably come hand in hand with that, along with Cloud and Bayonetta. But so yeah, 2 more Fire Emblem characters coming. We have a lot of Fire Emblem amiibo at this point.
True, very true.
Keep adding more, and they keep looking good. So why not? A couple quick reminders here. We got the Poochie amiibo. That another yarn. The yarn version of Poochie from Yoshi's Woolly World is coming out February 3rd. You can get him as a single figure or amiibo. Not really a figure. A plush single amiibo. Or you could get him bundled in with the new Yoshi's Woolly World plus Poochie game for the 3DS.
And that was my question. I wasn't sure if that was coming individually or not.
Yeah. People weren't sure. Then it started popping up for pre-order. So it's like, oh, okay, sure. Why not?
Like, I wasn't sure if that was one that was like, in Japan, you can get it individually, but in the US, you have to buy the game.
I mean, if they were smart, they would make it not individually bought and just make people buy the game. But
well, yeah, because this one in particular, I mean, like Chibi Robo was one thing. It's like they wanted people to actually buy the game. But here, they know people are going to be buying this amiibo.
Right.
So,
and like, since it's a port of a game that already came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do we know? I'm getting it either way, Matt. And then the Wolf Link amiibo is going to be sold separately for the first time, starting February 3rd as well. So, exciting stuff for the people that chose not to pick up that combo package with the Twilight Princess game HD remake. So,
but it's Zelda. You should get it anyway.
Absolutely. But like the best part about this though is like the customizing community will have access to cheaper Wolf Links.
Very, very good point.
You know, instead of buying the whole game combo pack, you could buy this thing. That's good. That's good for everybody.
There you go, TJ.
Yep. And then finally, some news that kind of came out of nowhere this week. Nobody was expecting more amiibo cards to be announced.
Yeah, and honestly, these are probably the last amiibo cards I would have ever expected.
But at the same time, they make so much sense.
It does.
It's almost too much sense, right?
They're trading cards. They're sports cards. They're literally sports cards.
It almost makes too much sense for Nintendo to actually be involved with it, because it's like, you guys really came up with this idea? Like, kudos. Like, good job on Nintendo.
Yeah.
Mario Sports Superstars. It's a game that's coming out for the 3DS. I don't think anybody was really paying attention to that fact.
Nope.
Being released March 24th. Everybody's going to be having their Switches in hand by then and playing their Switches. Nobody's buying Mario Sport Superstars for the 3DS March 24th. That is until now, when people are suddenly much more intrigued because they announced an entire line of amiibo cards coming that will go hand in hand with this game. Beautiful looking cards. It features all of Mario and friends playing different sports and engaging in different athletic competition. The horse riding cards are definitely my favorite so far. They're so weird looking.
It's true.
Those horses are funny.
The horses look kind of dopey.
Yeah, whatever. Mario at its finest. So, you know, they showed off like 5 or 6 of them, and you're like, okay, cool, this is going to be a fun little set, right?
Yep.
90 cards, Matt.
90 cards.
Nintendo does not hesitate to go big sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what it is, from what I understand, is there's 5 different sports, right?
Yeah.
And I think 18 characters then.
Right.
And so it's going to be those 18 characters in each of the 5 sports.
Yeah.
So, and to be perfectly honest, though, this is, I think, some of the best amiibo implementation I've seen in a game so far.
Yeah.
Like, I doubt that I'll pick it up, and I doubt that I'll buy the cards.
Sure.
But if I were into amiibo like this, like, I think this is something I'd actually use.
Right. And here's the thing that's tough for me. Like, I definitely want all the cards. Like, no questions asked. I'm going to get all the cards.
Sure.
I'm curious about the game, but at the same time, again, I'm going to be playing my Switch all the time. Like, why is this game not on the Switch instead of the 3DS? Like, it would be the quickest buy for me I could possibly think of, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard for me to wrap my head around picking up a 3DS game less than a month after I get my Switch.
Yeah, it seems, and it's always a big question in game development is, when did they start?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, how long has this game been in production? How long have they had it planned? Like, was there really no way you could make it a Switch game, or make it launch with Switch at the same time, or anything like that? Like,
right.
It just feels like, okay, they had this great idea, and they may have even had the cards in mind. And it's like, okay, more amiibo stuff. We got this. We're good. And it's like, but can we do this on the Switch? Do we want to do this on the Switch? Like, whoever was working on the game probably wasn't familiar with Switch, so they were making it for 3DS. And
sure.
And I don't know what happened, but yeah, it feels like something that should definitely be on the Switch.
Yeah. And not to say this game is going to be bad by any means. It's just like, I don't know if I'm going to want to play my 3DS at all, you know, this game or any other game.
I mean, like you said, especially just 3 weeks after the Switch launched. Because I've seen a number of people say, like, they want the next Wii Sports. They want Switch Sports.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And like, when I saw this pop up with the amiibo cards in particular, like, I'm like, oh, this is going to be on the Switch then too, right? Like, but I still haven't seen anything.
Right.
Like, it feels like it should be there, but
yeah,
we'll see.
So regardless, the cards look great. I'm going to collect them all. I'm going to put them in a binder. I'm going to pretend like I'm collecting sports cards again. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
But like, even this just goes to show that, like, Nintendo's not done with amiibo. They're still coming up with different things to do and make games that would otherwise be uninteresting suddenly topic of discussion. And if that's amiibo's greatest functionality is making people talk about games that they normally wouldn't, then they're succeeding in all levels.
Yeah. Especially, I think in particular when they can get away with the cards.
Yeah.
Because I have to imagine the cards are way cheaper to produce than the figures.
Sure. But after the whole Animal Crossing series, I'm sure there were people sitting there like, are we sure we want to go down this road again? Are we sure we want to do this and try it again? And somebody pushed hard for him and greenlit him.
I think the big part is you're putting the Mario characters on there.
Absolutely.
Because we saw what happened with the Animal Crossing figures as well. Like, the figures and the cards just didn't quite make it.
Yeah.
But you put Mario on it, and it's like, oh, yeah, we'll get that.
Yeah. That was the person in the boardroom that was fighting hard for it. They're like, but it's Mario!
Yep.
And everybody's like, well, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You make a compelling argument. Let's go ahead and run with this. So yeah, lots of good Amiibo news. It's nice to see Amiibo be exciting again. It's nice to see the Amiibo community have all these different things to be excited about that are coming up relatively soon. People are still just dying for the last 3 Smash Brother figures. There's definitely a story to be told as to what the holdup is with them. But other than that, you can put that negative aside and focus on all of this cool stuff that's coming out. Good thing for Amiibo collectors, for sure. Just in general, it just feels good to be a Nintendo fan right now.
Yeah, a lot of good things going on.
So, Matt, believe it or not, we have covered all the news we have to cover.
It's true.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah. Glad we made it.
Now, filling in for Jason is a tough job. I understand that.
It's true.
I brought you onto the show to help me with the Skylanders news and break all that down. And I didn't expect you to run through the news like Jason normally would with all the other franchises. But I did warn you ahead of time that you are going to have to fill the shoes of Jason in one way, shape, or form. And that is going to be in this version of this week's community question that we asked on Twitter. You are going to be the lucky one to read through all the responses. You are going to be responsible for picking the winner. The response of the week this week is going to get a lovely $5 Amazon gift card, so they can buy whatever the heck they want with it. So a lot of pressure, Matt. A lot of pressure. I understand that.
Yeah, definitely.
And before we read through it all, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Evan Parker, the Lone Goldfish. You could catch him over on Twitch, twitch.tv/the Lone Goldfish. I think he's in Walt Disney World this weekend. Coming up.
You might be right.
Yeah. I wonder if he's going to the Harry Potter celebration down there. Also. I don't know.
That would be interesting.
He's definitely going to Disney World. I know that.
Yeah.
And Big Mike, friend of the show, he's down in Disney World also. So, and then Jason's going in next week, I think, or 2 weeks. Look, everybody's going to Disney World, Matt. Here we are, like schmucks, just sitting here talking about it.
Feeling left out.
Big time, Matt. Big time. But hope our friend Evan Parker is having fun time down there. The Lone Goldfish, when he does things, he just gets it done. So, let's get into the community question this week, because we had so much Amiibo goodness, and because I did not know ahead of time I was going to have the Skylanders expert on, decided that this week's question was going to be Amiibo related. The question is, we know the new Zelda game is getting Amiibo, but what other announced Switch game would you want Amiibo for, and why? A lot of good responses. A lot of people trying to cheat on this one, Matt.
Yeah. There's some interesting answers here.
Yeah.
Some long answers, actually.
People forgot that this was Twitter.
Yep. But we'll read through them anyway.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So we have Brett at Brettman79 says, I want some Super Mario Odyssey amiibo, perhaps featuring some new characters we haven't even seen yet. Mm-hmm. We have Alan Wilkinson at Cassius335 says, 1.
Take a drink.
Arm. What's this?
Take a drink before you read this whole thing.
Yes. It says 1, arms, just in case Springman and Ribbon Girl don't get into Smash Switch after all. 2, Project Sonic / Sonic Mania, just to get a few Sonic variants and other characters in Amiibo. 3, Ultra Street Fighter 2, possibly just a Ken facing the other way. 4, I know it's not announced per se, but mystery upcoming Pokemon Switch thingy, because Pokemon. All interesting. We got one from at Juno 2023. Any Lego game because Lego. DMU Girl 2008 says, I'd like to see Amiibo for the currently Japanese only SMT game as it means info about the game might leak.
I don't know what SMT means.
I'm not sure either.
I'm sure it's really obvious and we're just really dumb right now, but
it probably is like Super Mario. I don't know. AJ Tulip says Arms Amiibo because the Smash Little Mac Amiibo unlocks him as a playable character. Tari Alex says Arms is begging for Amiibo with spring-loaded punching action. See, and that's what I'm waiting for with these. It's like they're going to be all lanky or actually like have springy arms or something.
And we see the movable arms in that Guardian Amiibo, so.
Yep. We have Richard says Mario Kart 8 Deluxe because the design possibilities are endless with all the different characters and kart parts.
Swappable car parts would be amazing.
Jeff Grimes at Jeff Grimes 23 says a whole line of Street Fighter amiibos would be awesome. My second choice would be Cowboys from 1-2 Switch. That 1-2 Switch game is
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. We have Uriel Espinoza says Rayman because that fake Smash leak still hurts.
I remember that box with just like all the parts just laying at the bottom.
Laying at the bottom, exactly.
So good.
So good. Tori Rosnowski says, does Skyrim count? I need a Dovahkiin riding an Alduin and Amiibo in my life.
I think Skyrim counts. They announced it.
Yeah. That would be an interesting line if they got all the dragons in there. Ooh. Ben Anderson at Toys to Life and More says new Sonic game. Always love Sonic and Amiibo might help Sonic gain some popularity back. Telling you, Lego Dimensions has it covered.
Yeah.
Brian at Billy DJ Dog says 1-2 Switch. They switch milking cows because a cow would utterly own in Smash. # cheese combos.
1-2 Switch is the most ridiculous thing ever.
Pretty much. At ET Phone Home it says, since Xenoverse 2 is confirmed on Switch, I wouldn't mind Dragon Ball amiibos. Jennifer Birch at Artistic Doodle. Another long one here. Super Bomberman R. I have a feeling that there were a few deals done to get Super Bomberman R onto Switch, including an amiibo via Super Smash Bros. Brawl Switch. Would it be compatible with Super Bomberman R? Who knows? For a core to be done with the video games, unless Digital Entertainment Division is separate and decided to make video games and not pachinko machines, I'm curious to see what made them re-enter the market and place a place in Smash with an amiibo seems like a good licensing deal and sort of a no-brainer with generating profits.
You know, it is weird that like Bomberman just came out of nowhere. When's the last time anybody's even brought up Bomberman?
I don't know. To be perfectly honest, I've never gotten the Bomberman games. Like, I've played a couple of them, and I just don't get into it. Maybe I played the wrong one.
On the Super Nintendo was fun. It was enjoyable. Yeah. Nice little puzzle game. But like, I never got like hardcore into it. But people that are hardcore into Bomberman are hardcore into Bomberman.
Yeah, he keeps coming back.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like everybody knows who Bomberman is.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know anybody that's really hardcore into Bomberman. We have at Mac Tonight OP says definitely Skylanders Imaginators. More characters like the Bowser and Donkey Kong figures. There you go. More Sky Amiibo.
Mm-hmm.
We have Tara says, I don't know what that is. Puyo,
mm-hmm.
Pop Blobs, and Tetris blocks.
It's from the Puyo Puyo Tetris game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not really familiar with that.
Puyo Puyo Tetris is a combination game of Tetris and Puyo Puyo, which is a really popular Japanese puzzle game.
Okay.
And they mashed up the two to make Puyo Puyo Tetris. So I know exactly what's going on there. So
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can totally see them just in that we can sell anything amiibo mode and make Tetris blocks and sell them.
Sure, go for it.
Yeah. Chris at Warlock SOL says, I want to see Snipper Clips amiibo with retractable sides to mimic them cutting each other. Yeah, that would be good.
Oh, goodness.
At Grizzly Knox says, a wedding Bowser because of all the cake toppers he and Peach would be used as.
Oh, goodness.
Hey, who's getting married?
Michael O'Driscoll. There
you go.
Yeah, that is the wedding cake topper right there.
He needs it.
Yeah.
Brady James says, I would like Mario Kart amiibo that unlocks new carts and power-ups. Imagine a Babam amiibo that gives you one in-game. That would be useful. At Carrie Clan says Mario Kart because we could always use more toy cars with NFC chips in them.
Can we?
It's been done.
Yeah, it's been done and abandoned already.
I was going to say, you can't scan them into the Switch.
That would be weird if they came out
yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, like movable cars that work on the Switch. But then
maybe that's it. There's going to be a Skylanders Mario Kart crossover.
Ooh.
And so all the cars have to be carts. And that's why you can't use the Skylanders vehicles.
Diddy Kong Racing had flying and
water
boats. Yeah, so... Yep. Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see. And William Thorndike says, Skylanders Imaginators. # bring back the Sky Amiibo.
It's almost like people knew you were going to be on this episode, Matt.
Well, yeah, and then to top things off, you know your favorite, Shopkins Inquirer.
Yeah.
Skylanders Imaginators. People want it.
Yeah.
People want it.
Yeah, they do. Here comes the tough part, Matt.
Yeah.
You get to pick a lucky winner this week for the response of the week.
So I was definitely a fan of the 1-2 switch answers.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to give some creativity to the Tetris.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think that the most clever one is the Snipper Clips.
I knew you were going to go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is too good.
I would pay some good money for some Snipper Clip amiibo.
Yeah,
Look, we're getting a Box Boy amiibo.
Yep.
We could get Snipper Clip amiibos.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Chris
Smith. Yep.
Warlock SOL. Get a hold of me. You know what to do. Get your $5 Amazon gift card. Thank you all for responding. That was a lot of fun. Thank you all for the Skylander references, despite not knowing Matt was going to be on this episode. You guys almost walked away with home runs on that one. So
it's true.
Yeah. Matt, we have one last thing we like to do here on this show. I don't know if you're familiar with this or not. But we close every show with some emails.
Let's do it.
The community. First email. And again, you're playing the role of Jason here. So don't be offended that these emails are addressed to Jason and I. Okay.
I know. And they're all going to have questions for Jason that, yeah, I might not have answers to, but we'll see what we can do.
Right. First email. This is from friend DMU Girl, 2008. with some rapid fire questions, Matt. So no thinking on these ones. Jason seems to prolong these more and more each week, but they're intended to be rapid fire, so let's try to get through them here.
I'll do my best.
All right, first up. Since Avalanche and WB are now working together, this must mean that the Disney is coming to LEGO Dimensions, right?
Yes.
Will you watch the LEGO Batman movie first or play the story pack?
You see, and this is where I'm torn, is because I don't go to theaters.
Right.
Like every story pack so far, like I've tried my best to watch the movie first and then play, but I'm gonna be really torn because I probably won't go see it in theaters, but I might have to make an exception. So if I make an exception, I'll see the movie first, but there's a good chance I'll probably play the story pack first.
Which, honestly, like, there's a good chance the story pack is going to be exactly like the movie.
Exactly. I mean, when you get an animated movie and turn it into a video game and, like, yeah.
And then turn the video game into the movie, like, yeah.
Yep.
You probably could just skip the movie.
You probably could.
Since Avalanche is back making games, which of Disney's upcoming films would you most like to see a game for?
Well, I think Jason's immediate answer would be Cars 3.
Right, which he's already getting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man. I'm not as up on my upcoming movies as he is. So that one's tough for me.
How about Black Panther?
That would be good.
It's coming out 2018.
It would be.
Or Episode 8. Star Wars.
Very true.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of content coming out with that.
Let's hope so. Some amiibo questions, Matt. What amiibo do you think Nintendo could make for 1-2 Switch?
I like the milking cows one. I really do.
I want a glass of ice cubes.
Can it have like removable ice cubes? Or ice cubes sold separately?
Yeah, there we go. Fill with your own ice cubes. And just give you a little miniature ice cube tray that you can make your own little mini ice cubes in.
You can only make 3 cubes at a time, though.
Right. Considering most of the amiibo drop consumables, what do you think the newly announced figures for Zelda could drop? As we saw the other ones, you could get like a pile of meat or a pile of other various foods and stuff. What do you think Zelda and that goblin character is going to drop, Matt?
Well, the goblin character, that's the one that screams like it should be dropping food.
Right.
Like, in my mind, they seem like those scavenger types that
sure.
That's what they would be doing the entire time.
Right.
I mean, could they give you other supplies? Could they give you like arrows and stuff?
Theoretically, I guess.
Like that.
Anything they want.
Like the hero end of it seems like that's what you should get. Like,
sure,
Zelda should give you something to fight with.
Right. Or maybe like replenish your life or your magic meter or something like that.
Sure.
Did you watch the Fire Emblem Direct?
Actually, I did.
Oh, okay. What was your favorite announcement from the Fire Emblem Direct?
Probably that they're keeping the amiibos going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they look good too.
Yeah. Even though I don't really know the Fire Emblem characters, because like I said, I haven't played the games. Yeah. Like they're just so intricate, and they have that down with amiibo. Like, you can take the most intricate character, and it will look good as an amiibo.
Right.
Because they're between the character design and the paint jobs that they give them, they're perfect.
Right. All right, last email of the night here, Matt. Then I get to set you loose. This is from the one and only Atari Alex.
Of course.
Dear Josh and Matt, do you think the Toys to Life genre could ever make its way into older, more traditional board games, such as checkers, chess, Battleship, etc.? How do you think it could be successfully marketed while also being innovative for the genre? Thanks, Alex. P.S. Jason, you should answer my DM.
Well, hopefully Jason listens to the show.
There's a 100% chance he is not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think it's possible. Do I think it's likely? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
But with the advent of, I think, did you guys mention Playtable on here?
Yes.
Was that on this show?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was stuff like that where I've seen more and more digital board games.
Mm-hmm.
And so combining that with the figures we have already, you could do a lot.
Right.
Whether it be like I could see scanning in your Skylanders and then playing with them, playing a game of chess with them. And then when it'd be like Wizard's chess in that respect.
Sure.
So awesome. like you scan all your figures in, and then you send them off, and they do their fighting, and when they run into other characters, like it's all animated and everything. It would be perfect.
I really want Wizard chess.
So I mean, yeah, I definitely think that there's possibilities out there, but I just think it's unlikely, unless it's some off-brand third-party type of thing that allows you to use characters you have, not necessarily branded and sold as a Skylanders or a Lego product or an amiibo product or anything like that, but it'd be something that has the reader in it and allows you to do something somehow. I don't know how it would work exactly,
right?
But
well, I mean, you're a pretty big board game fan.
Absolutely.
How do you feel about board games starting to implement devices, iPads and smartphones and that kind of stuff? Like, does that appeal to you in any way? Are you just like, it is what it is, like you just accept it? Are you excited about the possibilities it could add to the board games? Like, where do you stand on that?
So there's good and bad, because there's a wide spectrum of how people are using them and how they're implementing them right now. So you get your traditional games that are just board only, and that's my kind of my bread and butter. What I like the most, because I love the tactile feel, the moving the little bits around the board.
Right.
Like that's what I like to do. And so it all started when they just started converting those games into digital games for like the iPad.
Sure.
So you can play it on the go. You can play it whenever. And that's great if you like to play on the go, but you lose part of that game when you get to hold the cards in your hand or move pieces around the board. You don't get to do that anymore.
Right. But it also allows you to play like the game if you don't necessarily have somebody to play a board game with. Like you could play, the
it's
AI
true.
or whatever.
It's true. Yes.
Ticket to Ride is no fun to play by yourself, Matt, if you don't have somebody else strategizing.
Yeah, that would be a bit rough.
Yeah, I've tried. It's not good.
So then you have games like, if you want to include like Beast of Balance, where it has a physical component and the digital component. And personally, not my favorite. I don't really care for the necessary inclusion of that digital component. I would prefer that it would be all physical or all digital.
Fair enough.
But then I've also seen ones that have optional digital components that are just making parts of the game easier. Like my brother owns this game. It's called Alchemist.
Okay.
And they have an app that goes along with it.
Okay.
And there's only it doesn't. You don't use the app to play the game, but it's more like a player aid in the fact that there are it kind of helps randomize the game so each time you play it's different because you're creating these different potions, and you need to be able to tell when I mix this together and this together, is it good, bad, or neutral?
Okay.
And so there's a little bit of puzzle solving element in the game. I won't go in too much into it now, but the app allows it to randomize, like putting a green and a blue together in one game could be good, and in the next game you play, you could put those two ingredients together and it could be bad.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. But it's not necessary to play the game.
Like, yeah, you could get away without the app,
Okay.
but the app simplifies things.
Sure. Also, kind of like the app we used for Seven Wonders when we played up at PAX, like to keep score and to tally up the scores at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like that, like including things like that, I'm okay with.
Okay.
But like when it's required, like with Beast of Balance, like you are physically, you have to be doing something on the iPad while you're stacking, and
right.
Like I get what you're going for, and
Sure.
it's definitely cool that it's connected the entire time, and the iPad knows what is going on in the game, even though it's not like there are no wires connecting it.
Right.
Like that's kind of cool. I appreciate that. Like it knows that you just put the shark on the tower.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome as far as technology goes, but it's not my type of game.
Sure, that's fair. Do you think the board game industry is starting to adopt technology quicker than you would like? Like, how do you see it? Do you think there'll always be like the subsect of board game players that are just like adamant that keep my technology out of my board games type of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. Yeah.
Sure.
The physical only board games will always be there. There's just no. You're. I mean, the other thing that people like about moving them to digital is it takes out the setup and takedown time that some games have.
Sure.
And like I know it can be time consuming and it's a pain for some people, but those are honestly some of the best games out there.
Wasn't that like part of the experience too? Like when you're sitting around the table with friends and setting it
Exactly.
up and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. I see your points. Just curious where you stood on that, since Alex inadvertently asked you a question that was right in your wheelhouse.
Yep.
So, well, Matt, that being said, I got no more show for us to do.
Well, we'll just have to wait till next Monday then.
We will. We'll just have to wait until next Monday, and we'll have to talk more Harry Potter.
We will.
Until then, though, Matt, why don't you give all the people out there listening who, at this point, have been living under a rock and are completely unfamiliar with how to get a hold of you, just give some final plugs as to where people should go and check out your things.
You can always find me on Twitter at twitter.com/JasonInquires. Sorry.
Amiibo Inquirer.
I've listened to this show a few too many times. You can find me on Twitter at...
Can you do it as fast as him?
Yes. At SCL Matt. That's all my main Skylanders account. If you want to find me personally on Twitter, you can find me at As a Matter of Matt. For all my other projects, websites, and everything else that I'm working on, you can head over to sclmatt.com. That includes everything, including our podcast that we've referenced a couple times. So it's all there for you to check out, sclmatt.com. Hope to see you there.
Yeah. Tales from Gardic Hollow. Almost finished with book 3. Hurrah! Hurrah!
Best book, right?
I'm reserving judgment until the final 4 chapters.
Okay.
Because if I don't get some answers to things, Matt, tables are flipping. So you can find me personally on Twitter at The Noise with a Y. Follow the show on Twitter at Toys4Games. This show and everything else we do is hosted over at the website, toys4games.com. You can email us, podcast at toys4games.com. Go over to the Facebook group. Join in on the discussions. Ken is rocking and rolling over there, as he always does. Facebook.com/groups/toys for games. And if you would like to support us and what we're doing here on this show for everybody out there listening, for this entire community, you could do so over on Patreon, patreon.com/toys for games. With that being said, Matt, thank you so much for joining me very last minute, unexpectedly. I know you weren't planning on doing a podcast tonight, so I thank you, and the listening audience thanks you for your service.
Always have a blast on the show, so
yeah, I've been trying to think about like when would be a good time to have you back on. So it's kind of funny that like this happened this way.
Yep.
I feel like a monthly visit from Matt is almost necessary at this point. So we'll probably check back in with you once the Switch launches and we could talk Skylanders. So
sounds good.
For everybody out there listening, thank you as always for all of the continued support. And until next time, happy hunting, collectors.